Have you ever wondered if something as simple as sipping an extra cup of coffee late at night or habitually skipping breakfast could be quietly chipping away at your lifespan? You might be shocked to learn that the most dangerous threats to longevity aren't always the obvious vices like smoking or a junk food diet. Sometimes, they're the little things you do every day without a second thought, behaviors that seem harmless on the surface, but over time can set off a chain reaction leading to frailty, chronic illness, or worse. The strangest part? Most people will defend these small habits because they've done them for years and nothing bad has happened yet. But the truth is, the damaging effects can be so subtle that you don't notice anything until it's too late. And here's the real kicker: the second habit on our list is something that almost everyone does daily, convinced it's perfectly normal, maybe even healthy. By the end of this story, you'll know which behaviors to watch out for, and how they gradually erode not only your physical health but also your emotional well-being. Stick around, because the final habit might be happening so routinely that you've never questioned it, yet it could be the single biggest culprit shaving years off your life. We live in an era flooded with information about longevity. Take your vitamins, eat more greens, exercise, and you'll magically live to 100. At least, that's what some headlines promise. But if it were that straightforward, why do so many people who check all the boxes still face declining vitality in their 60s or 70s? The problem is that hidden in our daily routines are sneaky habits that can undo the benefits of an otherwise healthy lifestyle. Scientists and gerontologists have uncovered a startling pattern. People aren't just undone by big lapses in discipline, like binging on fast food every weekend, they're undone by the little things, habits so ingrained that they go unnoticed. The tragedy is, each slip might be nearly invisible in the moment. You might lose a fraction of muscle strength here, gain a tiny bit of inflammation there, or create a small hormone imbalance that grows over time. Decades later, these seemingly trivial actions can add up to a health crisis, leaving people wondering how their bodies wore down so quickly. It's like a slow leak in the foundation of your house. The structure appears fine until, one day, a crack emerges and everything collapses. Even the most health-conscious individuals can get trapped by these harmless behaviors. Picture someone devoted to morning yoga and fresh salads, but who sleeps just 4 or 5 hours a night, telling themselves they'll catch up on the weekend. Or the person who cuts out sugar and red meat yet is glued to a smartphone until midnight, messing up their circadian rhythm. These micro-habits create a chronic stress environment in your body. Over time, persistent low-level stress has been linked to higher risks of heart disease, diabetes, and even certain cancers. Worse still, it can erode your mental resilience, leading to burnout and depression. So it's not only about the body deteriorating, your mind can suffer too, making it harder to find the motivation or the discipline to reverse these trends. Right now, you might be thinking you're doing everything right. Yet these 7 innocent-looking habits can creep into anyone's routine, no matter how health-savvy or careful they believe themselves to be. The next few minutes could be a wake-up call, a chance to identify these pitfalls early and reclaim precious years. Let's dive into them one by one, revealing why they're so insidious and how they quietly shave off the longevity you're working so hard to protect. The first sneaky habit is chronically ignoring minor aches and pains. How many times have you felt a small stiffness in your lower back or a twinge in your knee and told yourself, it'll go away, or, I'm just getting older? There's a reason doctors urge patients not to brush off recurring discomfort. Minor pains can signal muscle imbalances, joint stress, or even the early stages of conditions like arthritis or spinal disc problems. Dismissing them might provide short-term emotional relief. Nobody wants to believe they're dealing with a real issue, but in the long run, you're setting yourself up for more serious injury or chronic pain that's far harder to treat. There's ample scientific data showing how inflammation in one part of the body can lead to problems in another. For example, an ongoing mild knee ache can cause you to shift your weight, misaligning your hips and spine, which eventually leads to back problems. Over time, these little issues accumulate until you suddenly face something major, like a herniated disc or severe osteoarthritis. The good news? Paying attention to and respecting those minor signals, especially after 60, can be your saving grace. Simple strategies like physical therapy, gentle stretching routines, or targeted exercises can often nip problems in the bud. It's a small mental shift, taking your body's whispers seriously instead of tuning them out. In essence, acknowledging your physical cues early can save years of deteriorating health, because you'll address the root cause before it grows into a crippling condition. Second, and this is the one nearly everyone does, is excessive sitting throughout the day. Scientists sometimes refer to our modern lifestyle as the sitting disease, and for good reason. On average, people now spend upwards of 10 hours a day seated, whether at a desk, in a car, or on the couch. Sedentary behavior is a well-documented risk factor for cardiovascular disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even early mortality. Think about it, the human body was designed to move, to walk and run and squat. Yet technology has made life so convenient that you can practically exist without standing, groceries delivered to your door, remote work, streaming platforms at your fingertips. While convenience can be wonderful, it also deprives your body of the regular circulation boost that comes from muscle contraction and movement. Over time, your metabolism slows, insulin sensitivity drops, and fat accumulates around your midsection. Even the act of regularly standing up helps engage muscles that stabilize the spine and pelvis, crucial for posture and overall functional fitness. Here's a tip: try mini breaks for movement. Every 30 minutes, do a quick posture reset, stand up, roll your shoulders, maybe even march in place for 60 seconds. Research has shown that frequent short breaks can offset many of the negative effects of prolonged sitting. It won't turn you into a fitness fanatic overnight, but it's a powerful step toward increasing daily activity. Third, there's the habit of mindless snacking, particularly late at night. When you were young, maybe you could munch on chips at midnight and bounce back the next day with no problem. But as you get older, your metabolism and hormone regulation become more sensitive. Late-night eating disrupts your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates sleep, hunger, and hormone cycles. Eating large or sugary snacks before bed can lead to restless nights, interfering with deep sleep, the very phase that's essential for cellular repair and hormone balance. This repeated disruption makes you feel fatigued the next day, and ironically, more prone to overeat or crave sugar because your body is desperate for a quick energy fix. In the long run, chronic late-night snacking contributes to weight gain, insulin resistance, and increased risk of metabolic syndrome. The simple fix is to set a cutoff time for meals and stick to it. If you absolutely must eat late, keep it light and nutrient-dense, like a handful of nuts or a small portion of yogurt. That way, you're less likely to spike your blood sugar right before heading to bed, and you give your digestive system a break, ensuring your body can focus on repair rather than on processing a large meal. Number 4 might seem inconsequential but can be devastating over time: your daily dose of hidden sugars and sweeteners. Even if you avoid obvious culprits like candy and soda, sugar often lurks in condiments, sauces, and so-called health foods like flavored yogurts. A sweet breakfast cereal marketed as high in fiber can still pack more sugar than a dessert. The reason sugar is so destructive is that it fuels chronic inflammation, a key driver in heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and various autoimmune disorders. Consistently high sugar intake also spikes insulin levels, eventually leading to insulin resistance. The tragic part is that sugar can be incredibly addictive. It lights up reward pathways in the brain, making you crave more. Many people get trapped in this cycle, starting their day with a sweet coffee, then craving another sugary pick-me-up by midday, and then dessert after dinner. Meanwhile, their body is constantly battling the metabolic aftermath. Over years, that battle drains your energy, weakens your cardiovascular system, and contributes to an expanding waistline that further compromises organ function. The best strategy is to check labels obsessively. Learn the dozens of different names for sugar, like maltose, dextrose, or evaporated cane juice, and try to limit or replace them with healthier options. Even small changes, such as switching from flavored yogurt to plain and adding your own berries, can slash a surprising amount of sugar from your diet, giving your body a chance to maintain stable blood glucose levels. Fifth, let's talk about the all work, no play mentality, chronic stress without meaningful relaxation. Stress by itself isn't entirely bad. A bit of it can motivate and sharpen your mind. However, unrelenting stress with no recovery period sabotages your body in ways you can't ignore. Cortisol, the stress hormone, remains elevated, leading to high blood pressure, increased belly fat, and a weakened immune system. Many people normalize this, telling themselves they'll rest later or on weekends, but downtime shouldn't be optional. Chronic stress has been linked to accelerated telomere shortening. Telomeres are like protective caps on your DNA. Shortened telomeres correlate strongly with aging and age-related diseases. The terrifying part? You don't necessarily feel the damage day by day. You might just sense that you're not sleeping well, or that you feel on edge. It's only when health problems erupt, like hypertension or a compromised immune system, that you realize the toll constant stress has taken. That's why it's crucial to schedule deliberate relaxation, mini breathing exercises, mindfulness breaks, or quiet, device-free walks. These practices reset your nervous system, lowering cortisol and giving your body precious recovery time. As modest as they sound, these small, stress breaks might extend not just the quality of your life but its length as well. Sixth is the habit of minimal social connection, loneliness dressed up as independence. With the rise of digital media, it's easier than ever to isolate yourself, especially if mobility issues or a busy lifestyle make in-person gatherings seem difficult. But numerous studies show that social isolation can be as harmful to longevity as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Why so severe? Human beings thrive on connection. Emotional support, laughter, conversation, and a sense of belonging all help regulate stress hormones, bolster mental health, and even keep your immune system more resilient. When you isolate yourself, you often slip into negative thought patterns. Without social accountability, it's easier to develop other harmful habits, like poor sleep, bad eating, or drinking too much alcohol, because you lack a community that encourages healthier choices. It doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or extrovert, consistent, meaningful interaction is vital. That could be a weekly call with friends, a book club, or even community service. These are not mere nice-to-haves. They are powerful factors protecting you from the downward spiral of chronic loneliness, depression, and compromised health. The seventh and final seemingly innocent habit might shock you because it's often mislabeled as productivity, sleep deprivation. Many people brag about thriving on just 5 or 6 hours of rest, but research consistently shows that getting fewer than 7 hours of quality sleep per night can lead to a host of chronic issues, weakened immunity, higher risk of heart disease, impaired cognitive function, and a shortened lifespan. In deep stages of sleep, your brain performs critical housekeeping tasks, clearing toxins like beta-amyloid, which is implicated in Alzheimer's disease. Your cells also repair and regenerate during these hours, healing micro-tears in muscles, stabilizing hormone levels, and preparing you to face the next day. Chronic sleep debt compounds these issues. You might become more prone to weight gain because of hormonal imbalances, like elevated ghrelin, which makes you feel hungrier, and decreased leptin, which normally signals fullness. The real tragedy is that people rarely connect their lack of energy, mood swings, or creeping waistline to poor sleep habits. They blame aging or some external factor. But the truth is, if you decide to treat your sleep as optional, your body will never have the time it needs to repair the subtle damage that accumulates each day. Over the years, this damage piles up, accelerating the aging process and sowing the seeds for heart disease and cognitive decline. If there's one habit you can address immediately, prioritize your sleep, set a consistent bedtime, power down electronics at least 30 minutes before bed, and create a cool, dark sleeping environment. These steps may sound simplistic, but they're actually fundamental for long-term health and vitality. Of course, recognizing any of these 7 habits is only the first step. The crucial next move is to take realistic, steady action to undo them. That could mean finally booking that appointment with a physical therapist to deal with your persistent knee twinge, or setting an alarm to remind yourself to stand and stretch every hour. Maybe it's about restricting your evening snacks to a small, nutrient-rich option and steering clear of sugary cereals. Or it could be as straightforward as calling a friend for a 10-minute chat when you feel isolated. Overcoming each habit doesn't require a dramatic overhaul of your life. In fact, small incremental changes are often more sustainable. What's important is that you consistently work to dismantle each damaging routine and replace it with a healthier alternative. And as you do, you'll likely notice subtle improvements in your mood, your energy, your sense of resilience. Over time, these small steps compound into big gains for your overall health span, not just your lifespan. Now, here's the critical takeaway: no one is immune to these sneaky habits. You might be young and feeling invincible, you might be in your prime trying to balance a hectic schedule, or you might be in your 70s aiming to preserve the vitality you still have. Regardless, these behaviors have a cumulative effect. Each time you ignore that subtle ache, binge on sugar, skip a night's sleep, or sink into isolation, you're giving up a fraction of your future well-being. But if you start noticing and changing these patterns today, you can reclaim those fractions and forge a healthier, longer life, one where independence and vitality aren't just fleeting memories but daily realities. So here's your call to action: Pick one habit on this list that resonates with you the most. Maybe you're guilty of late-night snacking or consistent 4-hour sleep nights. Commit to changing that habit for the next 30 days. Track your progress, note any changes in how you feel, and don't be surprised if you see real, measurable improvements by the end of those 4 weeks. Then move on to the next habit. Bit by bit, you'll dismantle each lifespan-draining behavior, replacing it with something life-giving. And while you're on this journey, share your experiences in the comments. What small victories have you achieved, and what new solutions have you discovered? Let's learn from each other, support each other, and make these healthier choices the norm rather than the exception. After all, longevity isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. And the best day to start is right now.